Before we start today, I just want to start off by saying that I'm deeply sorry about the last fuel injection video I made. I didn't realize that what I was doing was so damaging to these super original cars, and I just wanted to apologize outright for doing that. Anyway, I'm going to show you how to do a carburetor conversion today. So we're going to start on the FI motor today. First step is really going to be pretty much tearing all of this off. Most of it's pretty self-explanatory. When I get to pulling the plenum off, that I will show you because that's a super pain in the ass. But I'm going to refresh all these tins, and I'm replacing the shroud anyway. So the cylinder tins are going to come off. This front pulley piece is going to come off. You know, intakes, yada yada. You know, all the ancillary bits, and then we can start really reassembling it at that point. So let me get all of this crap off, and then when it's time to pull the plenum off, I'll show you how to do that. All right, so got a lot of the top end pulled off. Now we're going to pull the plenum and the intakes. For the intakes, we're going to undo these 8mm nuts on each foot. Okay, there's some on each side, and they've got the little cloth rubber joiner here. And then we'll have to take this unit off, and this is it has the same footprint as a regular generator stand, and it's got one nut back here, one over here, and another one right back here. Unfortunately, the fourth one is inside of the plenum itself. Let's see if I can get that to focus. Yeah, well, anyway, you see it, it's down there. So we're actually going to end up splitting the plenum on the engine by way of the bolts on that lip there. So we're going to get the intakes off, and then we're going to start splitting this so that I can get to that inside one. And with the intake out of the way, that back nut underneath it should be a lot easier to get. And we can do those fronts, and we can lift that off. Side. Again, will this side fit? No, this side I'm going to need a wrench on. Okay, it's one off. And we should just be able to yoink that off. Nice. Okay. Hopefully. Go. Alright, so I actually have to be able to lift this so that I can get that off because the nut's pinned between it. So now we're going to start splitting the plenum. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts. One's on the very bottom. Just starts to split like that. Boop. Oh my God, I hate this neighborhood so much. I've got the plenum off. Oop, I'm gonna hold the camera steady, idiot. You can see one of these studs is a lot longer than the other ones to accommodate the plenum. So I'm going to take this out. I've got a couple of dead cases over there I'll rob a stud out of to replace this one so that they're all the same height. And then we're going to take the thermal switch off. And normally you wouldn't have to take the cylinder tins off because you can just start putting everything on top of this. I'm taking them off because I want to clean them up and paint them. You know, because you wouldn't want anyone on the Samba to think you're a hack. So we're going to pull these. I'm going to pull the pulley and get that the pulley tin out so I can clean that up as well. And then once all that's painted, we can start putting everything back together. All right, I'm going to show you all how I take pulleys off, because it's really easy if you have the right tools. We're going to take your pulley nut off, but you're only taking it off so that you can remove the washer. Then you're going to put the nut right back in. You don't have to tighten it or anything, just get it, you know, down. I'm going to take a steering wheel puller that's got, you know, bolts and washers and nuts and things. Loosen that up. And you're going to put the bolts and the washers through these holes. And you're going to get it nice and snug like that. And you'll take a 17 mil socket or whatever is applicable. And off she comes. All right, it's another day. I've got most of the tins and intake pieces painted. So now we get to start reassembly. And the first thing is getting rid of parts of the fuel injection, which so far is that one sensor thing. So now there's some tins to put on, as well as the intake and the alternator stand, the new alternator stand, and distributor and things like that. So pretty easy stuff. I'm going to fly through that. Remember to put this pulley tin on first before you do your pulley, because the screws are behind that. It's getting all new screws. I still need to wash the pulley before that goes on, so that's going to go on later. But everything else is done, so I'm going to start slapping that on and then pick up when something important happens. So I've done a little bit more assembly here. So the reason why you have to get a different alternator stand or generator stand, and why you need this entire intake piece, or set rather, is because the intake plenum on the FI stuff is a combination intake and generator stand. It does not fit the carburetor on it. So you end up having to replace all that stuff and going to the factory setup for this. So I've got a few stupid little minor things to do. I've got the distributor wired up. I have the plug wires where I think are correct. I need to make the vacuum line that goes from the canister up to the carb. I need to wire the idle solenoid and the choke to the coil. I need to figure out fuel lines because we don't have a mechanical pump. This case does not have a provision for that, so we're going to be putting an electric pump in the car. That has to be wired off the key. I need to add oil, that's super important, and then set the valves. I think I have like 1 or 2 more tins that I need to clean up and paint, and then this will be ready to go in the car, and I can start doing the electrical side of things and getting rid of all the wiring in the car, or at least all the wiring that isn't going to be used, and then we can fire it up. So let me do those things, and then I'll get you back in here probably when we're ready to get the engine in.
Well, I've got the motor back in the car, so now we've got to start plumbing it and wiring it and
all them things. So I'm gonna start with the fuel. So I've got to find a way to make all of this make sense. So it does have a return line that I don't think we're going to need. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to cap that off so that it doesn't just dump stuff everywhere. So then the other issue is that I cannot use this fuel pump. The fuel pumps that come in the FI cars do anywhere between 45 and 55 PSI, which is way too much for a carburetor. So I have another electric fuel pump that's gonna go in here, a Durali from CB Performance. So I gotta get rid of this and mount it, well, get rid of it. I'd like to use the original harness here to power the new one. I just got to figure out how to wire this so that it gets constant power off the key in crank and in run. So I might have to do some wiring up top, and then I've got to plumb it and all that and all that jazz. So let me get this all situated, and then when we dig into the wiring, I'll get you back in here. So now I've got to make this line feed the copper line that goes to the carburetor up behind this guy. I'm gonna step it down with another filter, and then I've got to actually cap this line off somehow. So I might just get like another piece of hose and put something in it, because I don't think a vacuum cap is gonna stop that from doing its thing. So I'm gonna figure that out, but simple stuff back here, and then we can do the electrical bits. Okay, now we get to play the electrical part of the game. So these two wires here are what go to the fuel pump. I've got a jumper wire hooked up to the live wire in the car, and if I stick this down here and the electric pump goes, then I know that all I got to do is get power to this guy when the key is on, and the pump will work when I need it to work. Will I be able to do this with one hand? Yes. Great. So, I don't know if something just started leaking or not, but so now I got to, I just got to find a way to get power to this guy when the key's on, and then we'll be good on the electrical side of things, and we can try to crank this. I still need to put oil in the engine. That's something I don't want to forget about. All right, so I've got stealing power off a key on fuse over here, and I've got it spliced into the main harness going down to the fuel pump. So when I turn the key on, hopefully the fuel pump will go on, and we should be able to hear it, but she's kind of loud. Key on. Yep, I can hear it. Okay. So now I've got to go to the back of the car and wire up the reverse lights, and then tomorrow morning I'll get some oil, put some oil in the engine, and we can time and tune this thing, and hopefully that'll be it. All right, I've got it static timed. I'm going to do the first start in a second here. Just wanted to talk about the things that I've changed, or things that I had to change. So obviously, like I said before, we had to change the entire intake out and get a different alternator stand, because the other one was not going to work with this. Obviously, it's got a carburetor now. I decided to go with a different style distributor. I don't like the way the dual vacuum distributors behave with the 34.3s. I don't think the curve is right for those at all. So this is Petronix SVDA part number D186504. I really like these. I tend lately to use them with the stock coils because I've had so many of the Petronix coils fail on me within a month of being in service. What else did I do? Oh, I changed the fan shroud, because the FI fan shrouds, the cable exits over here, and I've never had any good luck drilling these out without completely destroying them. So I just put a different shroud on it. I also had to replace the throttle cable. The FI throttle cable is not long enough. So I got a universal one and put that in. So I've got it static timed. I've got some oil in it. So now we're gonna try to start it. see what happens. All right, had some tuning issues. Got that sorted out, realized that the rebuilt carb did not have an idle jet in it, so obviously it wouldn't idle. I've got it timed and tuned, and it starts up real nice now. We're gonna do it here. Took it for a ride, and for the most part everything went okay, except the acceleration was pretty poor, and I've had this issue before, and this vacuum canister is dead. I'm not actually getting any advance, so when the engine starts pulling vacuum, this diaphragm will activate and it'll kind of pull the plate around, or at least it's supposed to. You know, it's a little sticky, but I think that's actually the problem, because when I suck on this, nothing happens. I can pretty much breathe through it. So I've already talked to Summit. They're going to replace it. Luckily, I have another one on the shelf. I'm going to swap it out, time and tune everything, and hope that solves the issue. I might slack up the throttle cable some, or adjust it a little bit more. I don't think I'm getting wide open throttle. Once I do those things, it should just be shift pushing, and then some more road time, and hopefully she'll be done. Well, I think that'll do it for this episode. Had some issues with the vacuum canisters on the Pertronix distributors. Went through 2 of those in less than 48 hours. Once I put an OEM style one on, that issue went away. Aside from that, everything runs great. It hot starts now. It drives great. The throttle response is great. It doesn't do any weird noises or any of that. It doesn't do stupid shit like kind of work and then not kind of work, and then, you know, it just works because it's a simple system. None of this computer operated nonsense injector bullshit. Anyway, it's working great. Glad we fixed it. Glad it's still on the road, because in the end, that's the important part, that the car is still on the road. Doesn't matter how it got there. It just matters that the car is still on the road. So thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a like, leave a comment, share with your friends. We'll see you at the next one. Thank you.